Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. We got some breaking news for the South Carolina Gamecock fans as they land a commitment from one of the top prospects in that 2024 class in five-star edge rusher Dylan Stewart. We've talked a lot about this South Carolina program over the offseason and how optimistic we are about Shane Beamer and where this program is going. And you're starting to see this program take meaningful steps, not only in terms of culture, but you need to follow that up with on the recruiting trail, having these kind of wins. You saw it last cycle with Nick Harbor, and now you saw it this cycle with Dylan Stewart. And it's hard to ignore what Shane Beamer is doing down at South Carolina. Gonna break down Dylan Stewart, dive into the film, and talk just about this South Carolina program and where it's going. It's a very exciting time. A lot of you guys who've been listening to us know how optimistic I am about Coach Beamer, so appreciate it. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys. It's been a blast talking the recruiting cycle, talking transfer portal. You guys have been absolutely awesome. So if you do enjoy the updates, you enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate y'all rocking with the boys like you do. And let's get into Dylan Stewart. But I think I want to start with the conversation about where South Carolina is going as a program, right? Shane Beamer takes over this program, and it's not in a good spot. And the first thing you have to do is kind of flip the culture there. And I think any fan, anyone who follows college football can see that winning culture and that culture that Shane Beamer has brought to South Carolina on full display, right? So the culture is there. Now, what's the next step into building a premier program is you have to follow up that culture that you've established with winning football, and winning football starts on the recruiting trail. And you're seeing Coach Beamer take care of business on the recruiting trail. And you take a look at this 2024 class on top of what they did last year in that 2023 class, you got to be feeling really good about where this program is heading. A guy like Dylan Stewart, you go up against Georgia, you go up against Ohio State, you go up against Alabama for a kid that everyone in the country wants. In a very similar way, you went up with Nick Harbor in the 2023 class. If you can start stacking these recruiting battle victories, that's going to be a very, very special recipe for what South Carolina is trying to do. Now, I do want to talk about Dylan Stewart as well, because this is a extremely special prospect, 6'5", 235 pounds. And what you see is his ability to use that length and how twitched up he is coming off the edge. I mean, it's a special blend of speed to power, burst and bend around the edge. He's going to be a nightmare for offensive tackles to try to deal with. And also, he's a very versatile guy. Like, you can drop him back in coverage. He can play in space as well. Hell, he could be an off-ball linebacker if you wanted to be. Now, he's going to be an elite edge rusher, don't get me wrong, but that's just talking about how athletic a guy like Dylan Stewart is. And again, you don't get that five-star status. You don't get that top 10 national recruit ranking if you're not that kind of dude. Now, going into the film with Dylan Stewart and just getting a sense of how special this kid is, you're going to see him win in a multitude of ways. And that's kind of what I love most about this edge rusher. First rep, I mean, they don't pick him up. The running back tries to pick him up. Not a chance. And you see the power on display, right? How twitched up he is, how he can go speed to power. That's really big. And then you see Dylan Stewart's ability to play in space, right? That's something that's a growing demand for edge rushers. And you talk about why Dylan Stewart might play early. These are the kind of things that might not flash out on the film, but this is what you need to do in the SEC. You need to be stingy against the run, hold the edge, and Dylan Stewart can certainly do that as well. Again, very versatile. You'll see him standing up, taking on a block. Although he's only 235 pounds, his physicality at the point of attack in terms of defending the run, which has been a massive problem for South Carolina lately, is absolutely massive. You see him getting those long arms up, deflecting a pass, leading to what is almost a pick six. Dylan Stewart impacts the game in such a multitude of ways. I think this is such a massive, massive win. And again, you see him. This is something that, and I don't mean to like get on Jordan Burch, but Jordan Burch comes in with that 5-star ranking, really special athlete. He never really, I'm going to try to choose my words carefully. I don't think he really lived up to it, especially in the run game and how he defended the run. That South Carolina team has struggled against the run for a really long time. And that's our biggest concern heading into the 2023 season. Now, look at what Dylan Stewart does off the edge, right? Stacks and sheds an offensive tackle at the point of attack, gets off the block, and is able to extend the play out and make a tackle. That's the type of stuff that's winning football, right? The sacks, those The sacks, those are going to come, right? I mean, this dude is a special athlete, but you having that ability to defend the run, I think is absolutely massive. And Dylan Stewart shows that on the film consistently, right? Really, really good force in the run game. Now I want to take us to this South Carolina class in the 2024 cycle. Now, on the surface, now they haven't added Dylan Stewart in a 5-star ranking. That will move up their rankings. They're sitting as a top 25 class with 14 commits. I want to talk about why I'm so excited about this South Carolina class and specifically what they're doing in the trenches, right? We've talked at length about South Carolina. They have the skill position, right? You look at the defense. That secondary is elite. You look at the offense. I don't think there might be a better wide receiver in the SEC than a guy like Juice Wells. You have Spencer Rattler. You have this skill talent. What has been lacking for South Carolina is probably bodies in the trenches, right? That offensive line and the defensive line. And what they're doing in this class is addressing it, and they're addressing it in a big way, right? You go out and land two of the top tackles in this class in Josiah Thompson and Cam Pringle from your backyard in South Carolina. You're bolstering the front seven with guys like Fred Johnson. I am such a fan of what Shane Beamer is doing with this class, and it doesn't sound like they're done, right? They only have 15 commits in the boat. A lot of these teams that are ahead of them in the recruiting rankings have 20 to 25 commits already in the boat. If South Carolina can stack another season, this is becoming a program where these 5-star guys, they want to go look at it, right? Nick Harbor last cycle, Dylan Stewart this cycle, they're building something special. And Shane Beamer, you talk about a guy that if I were a elite high school football player, I don't know if there's a coach across the country that I'd want to go play for more than Coach Beamer and what they're doing at South Carolina. So you're starting to see that culture result in recruiting victories, and those recruiting victories are going to result on winning on the field on Saturdays in the fall. The recipe, you're seeing it before our eyes, this South Carolina program being built in the right way. And if you're a Gamecocks fan, you have to be absolutely thrilled with what's going on in South Carolina. Want to leave it there, but again, Shane Beamer building something special, landing 5-star edge rusher Dylan Stewart. This is a significant get, not only because of the player that you get, but a signal of where South Carolina is going as a program. Appreciate you guys rocking with the boys like you do. And if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We'll talk to y'all later.